Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you Dr. Jordan Peterson's 7-step protocol to break the chronic stress cycle and retrain your nervous system for calm, clarity, and control. This isn't theory. It's the exact framework that I've used for the last 20 years, coaching doctors, executives, and high performers who looked successful, but were secretly running on fumes. You don't need more breathwork, therapy, or hacks, because stress isn't in your head. It's in your biology. Once you understand how chaos, avoidance, and misalignment trap your nervous system, you can reset it permanently. Sound good? Let's dive in. So we're going to talk about the most destructive, oddly worshipped, yet ignored problem in the world, chronic stress, and how it silently hijacks your brain, burns out your body and mind, and tears down your immune system. And that is not an exaggeration. If anything, it might be an understatement. And what I'm going to do in this video is go over Dr. Jordan Peterson's 7-step protocol to unlock your mind. And I'm excited to do this video because Jordan Peterson is definitely one of my most revered humans on the planet. His work has made a profound impact on my journey and my ability to help individuals. So excited to show this to you all today. Let's jump in. So before I get into Jordan's steps, you need to see the biology behind this and why these 7 things I'm going to show you actually work. All right, because chronic stress isn't just feeling anxious. It's your nervous system trapped in survival mode, keeping the alarm on long after the threat is gone, or it's on because you're not addressing the threat. Okay, 2 reasons. If your life is chaotic, your nervous system assumes you're unsafe. This is why no breathwork, meditation, or therapy can override a misaligned life. This is why Peterson's insight shifted how I understood stress completely. Stress doesn't come from your job or your phone. It comes from avoided truths, unresolved chaos, and misaligned choices. How do I sum that up? Comes from not being connected to the truth and reality. Chronic stress isn't random. It's your body sounding the alarm you've been trying to silence. This is why quick fixes don't work. What heals is clarity, courage, and direction. Peterson's philosophy, plus 20 years of psychology, shows 7 steps that break the cycle. Number 1, face the chaos. Stress hides in what you avoid. Write down the job, conversation, or relationship you've been dodging. Visibility makes chaos manageable. And so the way I describe this to my clients is, if you're walking around in the Amazon jungle, okay, which is a dangerous place to be walking around, lots of dangerous things there, things that could bite you, eat you, etc. If you're walking around in the Amazon jungle and you've convinced yourself you're on a beach in Hawaii, your nervous system is going to be on fire all day long because you're not facing the reality that you're in. You're not facing the potential chaos that's in there, which may be in the form of your job, maybe a conversation you don't want to have, or this relationship that's happening in your life that you keep creating a narrative that's okay. It's scary to face reality sometimes, but nothing can change unless we actually acknowledge that we're in the Amazon jungle. If we don't acknowledge we're in the Amazon jungle, then we're never going to get out of there. Step 2, speak the truth. Jordan talks about this extensively because your body, specifically your nervous system, senses lies, even self-lies. Stop saying, I'm fine, when you're not. Speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Face the dangers, face the red flags in your life right now, that relationship, your job, the fact that you're living for everybody else. Like, you got to get aligned and move towards truth. That's what regulates your nervous system, because your body knows when you're not living in alignment with the truth. Step 3, clean your room. Love this one. He's got pretty famous by this one. And really it's for lots of reasons, but one is your brain mirrors your environment. A cluttered desk signals threat, order signals safety. Start with one drawer, one corner. Small structure builds nervous system stability. It also allows you to tackle small things, right? Because a lot of times we may look at our life and it's just so overwhelming. It's like, I don't know where to start. And you try to fix it all at the same time. And this is why this is such a great tool or strategy that Jordan Peterson talks about, because it's like, right, if everything's chaotic, we'll just start with your room. Like, is your room clean? Is there any organization in your room? Because that's something that's something tangible, right? Like that's something you can immediately improve, and then just start making your way out from there, right? Your room, your home, your health, et cetera. Like what are the things that are most in your control that you can start to slowly start to arrange, slowly start to create some order with? Great first step. Step 4, aim at the highest good. So aiming is absolutely essential for regulating. So what does aim mean? It means having a target. It means knowing where you're going. Okay. You would never get in your car and not know where you were going. And if you did, you'd probably just be driving around in circles, right? And that's very dysregulating because you have nothing to orient to. Everything at every moment could pull you in a direction. I was like, that seems good. It seems good to go that way. No, it kind of seems good to go this way. And it's like, if you don't name where you're going, then any path will do, right? And ambiguity creates anxiety. Okay. Without a target, the body never relaxes. Define one thing today that aligns with what matters most. Direct your energy there. Clarity, calms biology. And this is interesting, just kind of how your brain functions when you're thinking about doing the thing and then you're actually doing the thing, right? And so this is where action's super important, and why, clean your room, take the first step is really important, because that focus channels those resources to actually manifesting and doing something, moving forward. Now, I will touch real quick on Jordan's big on aim at the highest good, because why not, right? Like, why wouldn't you name at the highest good, the beautiful, the true, and the good? There's nothing more noble and more worthy of a pursuit than the highest good. So what is the highest good you could pursue today? Really think about that and start orienting yourself to that. Step 5, carry the burden voluntarily. Avoiding responsibility becomes chronic stress. Choose the right burden, a project you believe in, a duty that matters. Voluntary load shifts your body from helpless to capable. Boy, this is so important. And this is where, I think one of the biggest misrepresentations in the personal development world is, to pursue being happy, right? Like, make your goal being joyful or happy. It's like, emotions are not the target. Emotions should never be the aim. Emotions are the result of pursuing meaning and purpose. And if you're pursuing something that's meaningful to you, something that aligns with your purpose, you'll have the resiliency to overcome the challenges and the burdens that you will face. There is no avoiding pain and suffering in this world. Like, that's never going to happen. So you have to have a worthy pursuit so that you're taking on the most aligned burdens, right? Like that the struggle is worthy because of the cause that you're moving towards. Suffering is going to happen in life, and you want to make sure that the pursuit, the goal, the aim is worth the suffering. And that's why aiming for the highest good is always your best bet. And then voluntarily and incrementally leaning into the discomfort, taking on the responsibility to pursue and make that thing happen in your life. And if it's in line with the greatest good, then not only is it best for yourself, but it's also best for everybody. Step 6, integrate the shadow. Stress often comes from the mask you wear. The mask you wear means you're dissociated from reality. Pretending to be flawless is exhausting. Admit your flaws, even privately. Owning them frees the nervous system to rest. Why is that? Because the truth is what regulates your nervous system. And the truth is, we're all perfectly imperfect, and we all have a dark side to us. And the more we avoid it, deny it, the more it can be present and driving us without us knowing. This is where humility comes in. Humility is about owning the truth of who you are. the things about you that are great and the things about you that are broken and the things that you need to evolve and learn from. And so embracing the imperfections of who you are, embracing the shadow side of who you are, and learning how to integrate that so that it can be leveraged to pursue the greatest and highest good. And that's the truth. And that's what allows your nervous system to feel regulated, because you're aligned with truth and reality. One of the things I know Jordan has said, which I think is so profound, is, when people read about Schindler or watch Schindler's List, the gentleman that, saved a lot of the Jews from the Nazi internment camps, when people watch that or read his story, he says, 99% of the people read that and say, oh, I would be Schindler. That's how delusional we are, right? It's like, no, that's absolutely not the case, because 99% of people never did that, right? And so we have to understand our limitations. If we don't understand our limitations, if we don't understand that side of us that kind of has this, it does have this, proclivity to be selfish, to look out for itself, etc. Like if we don't own that, then it starts to take over, and we're dissociating from reality, which is very dysregulating, and our nervous system's going to know. Number self, compare yourself to yesterday. This is a huge one. I call it measuring backwards, because perfection's unattainable, but progress is medicine. Track micro wins, better sleep, one tough email sent, one step forward, small victories, retrain your body to feel safe. I call this measuring backwards. When you're measuring yourself, your current self today, your present self, to some ideal outcome or this perfect goal or reality, you'll just wake up all the time feeling like you're not enough and that you're not there yet and you're not doing enough. And you're just always going to operate from a sense of lack, because you're focusing on the gap between where you are and where you're not. Measuring backwards allows you to do exactly what Jordan's talking about. Track the micro wins, own that the trajectory that you're on has improved and you're moving in the right direction. Right? And acknowledge the small victories, acknowledge that you've made progress, right? I always say, don't be the kid in the back seat when you're driving across the country asking every 5 minutes, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, that's not helpful. You might have driven from Florida all the way to, the end of Texas, but you're still not in California, right? But if we're constantly just waking up every morning and asking, are we in California yet? No, we're not. Oh, so feel so defeated. As opposed to, hey man, we just drove 600 miles west. Like, we're 600 miles closer to getting to the West Coast. Like, that's what's going to give you the inspiration and motivation to keep moving forward, especially when you run into the obstacles, this flat tire, you get lost, the rainstorm. Like, knowing that you're making progress is what keeps you motivated to and have the resilience to overcome the challenges that will be there. And so in my 20 years coaching high performers, from doctors to Fortune 200 executives, this is what I've seen. You can't think your way out of chronic stress. You have to train your system to break the cycle. And so that's why I teach clients the 5 root stress drivers. Okay. These are the 5 things. I've worked with people now in the hundreds, if not in the thousands. And these 5 things, they're always at the core of what's driving chronic. One of these 5 things. So those 5 things are, I call them the open loops. Okay. And that's basically all the things in your mind, your to-do list that you may not have a system for. And every single to-do that you have or worry that you have, there's no hierarchy, there's no prioritization. It all seems equally important to get done. And a lot of times we look at all the things we have to do, and the way it occurs to us is it all needs to get done now. Well, that is the recipe for overwhelm and anxiety, because there's no way that it's all equally important to get done and that it all needs to get done now. Like, just orienting to it that way immediately is going to create a problem. And so making sure you have a system to manage those open loops is essential. I have videos on my YouTube channel that break down organizing your to-do list, so make sure you check that one out. An excellent system to get you started. Number 2 is you got to protect your identity. And so what do I mean by that? This goes back to when your nervous system was actually conditioned and what gave us the sense of self. Like, who am I is the first question, or one of the questions we have to answer as kids as we start to evolve or grow and develop. Who am I? And is who I am okay? And what does that mean? Does it mean, will I be accepted? Will I be loved? Right? Because if who I am is not good enough for the environment that I was born into, my caregivers, my tribe, so to speak, if I get this impression that it's not okay to be me, that I won't be accepted, that is a incredibly large threat that our nervous system will orient to forever if we don't close that loop, protect our identity, and understand that we're safe and it's okay for us to be ourselves. I literally work with people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s where this very specific open loop, is it safe to be me, is still playing in their nervous system. And that's the big rock. Like, that's the thing that has them in this chronic stress loop. Number 3, leave toxic environments. So important to understand this one. This is another huge one. Okay. If your nervous system, if you exist in an environment that's not safe. And so what's a not safe environment? It's an environment that, doesn't accept you. It's that relationship that's, dangerous. It's maybe that's relationship with that narcissist, that person who gaslights you, that makes you feel like you're always the problem, that doesn't listen to you, doesn't respect how you feel. Anytime you share how you feel, you're the problem. I mean, you have to understand, like, there's nothing that you're going to do in that situation short of getting out of there or creating some strict boundaries in some cases that will regulate your nervous system, right? Or the job that's not conducive to your values. Like, imagine that you have certain values, but your job has you doing things that are not aligned with that. I've had, top execs that I work with where they're being told to do things and treat people in a certain way that doesn't align with their values. And they're wondering why they can't sleep and why they're stressed. Like, you gotta look at that. Environments and relationships. Okay. Those are the 2 huge things. Number 3. Okay. Number 4, you got to fix the basics. Like, you got to make sure you're sleeping, that you're eating, and you're moving. It sounds so obvious, but I can tell you, obviously anything over here, right? Obviously anything in this category can create a lot of these problems, but then it loops back on itself, right? Then these problems create these problems. And this is, again, that chronic stress loop that can be so dangerous. And so you want to just make sure the basics. So, are you sleeping at all? Do you get your 8 hours? I say that to people and they look at me like I'm nuts. And if you're not, then it's like, okay, well, am I doing anything to help improve my sleep? Like, am I getting off screens for a couple hours before I go to bed? Am I watching TV until I pass out? Am I eating big meals before I go to sleep? Do I get up at the same time every day? Do I go to sleep at the same time every day? Do I get any sunlight in my eyes in the morning to help with my circadian rhythm? Like, there are certain things you can do that don't require a ton of effort, to start helping regulate your systemic system, right? Food. Do I eat out all the time? Do I drink a lot? Like, these are very obvious things that, again, I understand why we're doing it because we're stressed, but it just accelerates the stress loop and makes it harder to get out of. So what are some things I can do to modify some of these things? Do I get outside? Do I move? Do I sit on my butt all day and not, at a desk? Do I not get outside? Like, you got to look at these things because all these things impact your systemic system, your cardio system, your immune system, hormones, metabolism. All of these things have a huge impact. And sometimes they're the big rock. Maybe we need to address that, okay, while we're addressing some of these other things, okay? And then that last one is your mindset. And a lot of things we just covered that Jordan Peterson shared with us has a lot to do with your mindset. Like, do we know what we want? Have we named that? Are we focused on what we want? Or are we constantly focused on what we don't want? Do we measure backwards? Do we celebrate the trajectory changes that we've made? Or are we always focused on where we're not, right? Like, your mindset also can fuel stress. And so these 5 things, okay, I promise you, if you're stuck in the chronic stress loop, it's one or more of these 5 things that need to be tuned up. And I go into these things in more detail on my channel. So make sure you check my channel out where I go deeper into these 5 pillars of chronic stress, because you ignore these 5 root drivers of stress, There's no hack that will ever work, no supplement, no seminar, no retreat. They're all going to be temporary fixes. You got to get to the root cause, and I promise you it's one of these 5 things. So if you've tried therapy, meds, or meditation and still feel stuck, just please understand you're not broken. You've just never been taught how to listen to the signals your body has been screaming for years. But this can end now. If you're still stressed after trying therapy, meditation, or self-care, it's because you've been solving the wrong problem. Most people never get this information that I'm sharing with you. But if you want the exact process to eliminate stress at the root, I'll show you how. Okay, chronic stress is rewiring your brain and wrecking your life. In 1 hour, I'll help you break the stress cycle and turn it into fuel without meds or endless self-care. At the time of this recording, I have 7 spots open in my one-on-one practice. I just opened up more time in my practice. And so I'm offering free consults for a limited time. And if you're interested in one of these free consults, you can look in the description. There will be a link. And you're going to fill out the qualifying questionnaire because I want to make sure we're a good fit. It only takes about 3 minutes. And you'll be taken to my calendar. You can book a time at no charge. So the purpose of this call is honestly to help you assess. Okay, this is the key. You got to assess. You got to know what's the thing that's causing this chronic stress loop. Okay, we have to stop chasing symptoms. And so this call is the first step to assessing what the problem is so that we can create a plan to actually attack what's actually creating the problem. Okay, I've been doing this approach now for years with hundreds of people, and it's changed everything. And not only for them, but for me. I mean, I've seen people break free from chronic stress, burnout, and meds, reclaiming energy, clarity, and purpose without big pharma solutions. So what I'd love for you to do is I'd love you to write in the comments below here, like, what's your biggest struggle related to chronic stress? Leave a comment on the video, and I'll personally reply with some thoughts, some perspectives, some advice, and maybe even point you to another video on my channel that can help. And if you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, share this with other people so that we can get this information out to more people so people don't have to continue to be enslaved to this chronic stress cycle. Thanks so much for listening.